Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're shifting gears a bit in the procurement world. We're moving beyond just counting, how many suppliers got invited. Instead, we're really going to focus on let's call it the architecture of the request for proposal itself.
That's right.
Our mission here is to kind of extract the science behind crafting really effective RFP questions, the kind that turn those, often subjective supplier stories into objective data you can actually use.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that the top sourcing teams, they don't see the RFP as just paperwork. For them, it's like a finely tuned instrument. They absolutely know that the quality of the answer they get back from a supplier, it directly mirrors how clear and structured their own question was.
Right.
That precision, that's the real differentiator. You can measure it in the evaluation process.
Okay, let's unpack that straight away because we see this all the time, right? The classic vague question, something like, describe your onboarding process.
Oh, yeah, that one.
It's basically an open door for the supplier's marketing team to just, dump 3 paragraphs of lovely sounding stuff that you can't really verify.
Exactly. You get 0 comparable data points with phrasing like that. 0. The actionable way, the kind of precision we're talking about, sounds more like this. List each onboarding phase, then its average duration in days, and finally, the client participation hours you require per phase.
Oh, okay. So now you've got structure.
Now you've got structured data, something you can score, compare properly side by side, supplier versus supplier, and you can audit it later.
And this isn't just theory, is it? Our sources mention internal audits, Fortune 500 companies.
Mm-hmm.
They found structured questions boosted evaluation accuracy by, 42%?
A staggering 42%, yeah, compared to just using those open-ended formats.
Wow, 42%. I mean, that's the difference between just hoping you picked the right vendor and actually having solid evidence that you did.
The data really is overwhelming on this, but we still see procurement teams making the same mistakes. So let's talk about the traps. What are the big, costly ones? First, it's definitely that overly broad phrasing we mentioned, asking things like, so tell us about your implementation capabilities.
Right, which lets the supplier just talk about what they're good at, not necessarily what we need them to do operationally.
Precisely. They frame the answer their way. And the second big mistake, it's just inertia, really. Copy-pasting questions from old RFPs.
Ah, the legacy questions.
Yeah. They might have been okay 2 years ago, maybe. But now, they often don't line up with your current goals or the KPIs you're trying to hit. They just, clog up the document. Waste everyone's time, yours and the suppliers.
So the solution is stop asking for essays. Get specific.
You have to specify the currency, basically. Define the units or the scales you want answers in. Is it days, full-time equivalents FTEs, percentage of automation? If you don't name the unit, you simply don't get data you can compare. It's that fundamental.
Wait a second, though. Defining units, crafting these really precise questions. That sounds like a lot more work up front. Is it, really worth the effort?
Oh, absolutely. No question. And if you look at the bigger picture, the payoff is immediate. Quantitatively, these well-designed questions, they cut down evaluation time by over 50%.
50%? How?
Because your evaluators aren't wading through pages and pages of narrative trying to find the answer. They're looking at tables, at clear, quantifiable data points. It leads to much faster, much more confident decisions.
Okay, that makes sense. The upfront time pays off downstream. So how do organizations actually put this into practice? How do they get better at this? We're hearing about things like centralized question banks.
Yes, exactly. That's a key step towards maturity. Building these libraries, maybe categorized by subject IT, logistics, whatever it is, it drives consistency across all your sourcing events.
So everyone's asking the right questions.
Yeah.
The same way.
Right. But there's one more piece, and it's absolutely critical. It's the feedback loop. After the contract is awarded, procurement teams must go back and look at the outcomes. Which questions actually predicted good supplier performance?
And which ones were just filler?
Precisely. Which ones added no real value? And then, based on that hard evidence, you refine the questions. You tweak the wording, maybe adjust the weighting you give them in the evaluation. You're directly linking your question design back to achieving your actual performance targets. Things like your supplier performance index, the metrics that show if the supplier really delivered post-contract.
So it becomes a continuous improvement cycle.
Exactly. The main takeaway here is that designing RFPs isn't just an admin task anymore. It's moving towards being a strategic, repeatable, data-driven process. The goal shifts from just getting the paperwork done to achieving predictable, successful outcomes.
Right. So here's the final thought we want to leave you with today. If you went back, say, audited your last 3 RFPs, which questions in there were just administrative filler? And which ones actually gave you that verifiable structured evidence that really pointed to post-award success? And maybe more importantly, how can you start building that library of evidence-based questions starting today? Thanks for diving deep with us.